Excuse me, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Farmington Board of Education meeting for Monday, December 9th to order. If we can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point in time, I'm going to, out of a sense of humility, ask for, in addition to the agenda, we'll postpone the presentation of the proclamations for outgoing Board of Education members. I'd like to add a new 3B, which will be a proclamation for Superintendent Kathy Greeter, to be presented by Mike D'Amico. So can I have a motion to add a new 3B to the agenda?
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we will now do 3B, and we'll call Mike to come up. Sure. Yeah.
Thank you for being flexible enough to change the agenda. I appreciate it. So I know you have a busy agenda, so I will be brief. I just wanted to offer my congratulations, my personal congratulations to Kathy for her award. And I just want to say publicly that I'm glad that the Connecticut Association of Secondary School Principals, even though it took them 10 years, they finally recognized that here in Farmington, we have the best superintendent in the state of Connecticut. So there we go. So. Without further ado, the State of Connecticut General Assembly official citation introduced by Representative D'Amico, Representative Exum, Senator Slapp, and Senator Bizzarro. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Kathleen C. Greeter in recognition of your selection as Connecticut's Superintendent of the Year by the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents. As a result of your thoughtful and collaborative leadership, and your tireless advocacy for student-centered instruction, the Farmington Public Schools have been consistently recognized for excellence, innovation, and high levels of achievement. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Given on this 9th day of December 2019 at the state capitol, and it's signed by the President Pro Tem of the State Senate, Martin Looney, the Speaker of the House, Joe Arasimowicz, and the Secretary of the State, Denise Merrill. So, Superintendent Greeter, congratulations, congratulations.
Thank
well done.
So much. Yeah, thank you. It's almost as big as I am. Thank you. Well, we'll do it after.
Okay,
So we do have cake over
Yeah.
there. So we're going to do our proclamations,
Yep.
and then we'll all enjoy some time together and some delicious cake.
Okay, next item on the agenda with the new 3C, it's the presentation of proclamations for outgoing Board of Education members. We have a couple, including myself, tonight. So this is just a nice opportunity for us to say thanks to everybody, you know, even the ongoing board members, but just reaffirm our thanks and you know, gratitude for all the board members that donate their time to this. It's a lot of work. It's, you know, we have a lot on our plates personally and professionally, and we give our blood, sweat, and tears to this undertaking. So I just want to thank everybody, outgoing and remaining board members. So I'll start with the first one for Michelle Hamilton. So let's see. Whereas Farmington Board of Education's mission is to enable all students to achieve academic and personal excellence, exhibit persistent effort, and live as resourceful, inquiring, and contributing global citizens. And whereas students in Farmington Public Schools effectively learn important academic content, demonstrate skills and achievement at high levels, and develop their individual talents and interests in an atmosphere that promotes cooperation, respect, and lifelong learning. And whereas Michelle has served with complete dedication as a member of the Farmington Board of Education for 4 years, from January 2016 until January 2020, and has shown a tireless commitment to high-quality education in the public schools by her dedication to the Board of Education. And whereas Michelle Hamilton served on the Negotiations Committee, successfully completing negotiations with all associations, she was a member of the Farmington High School Building Committee to address the needs of the high school facility. Michelle served as chair of the Communications Committee, focusing on continuous improvement in the area of communications to the community and celebrating the many successes of the school district. And whereas Michelle Hamilton served as chair of the Curriculum Committee, helping to collaboratively shape innovative curriculum initiatives, programs, and courses aligned to Farmington's vision of the graduate, as well as a new graduation policy beginning with the class of 2023. In addition, she was the board's liaison to the Chamber of Commerce. And whereas Michelle Hamilton worked collaboratively with all constituents to successfully pass budgets through a referendum process across several years to support all elements of innovative improvement in Farmington. And whereas Michelle Hamilton supported the enhancement of technology integrated instruction and K-8 infrastructure improvements across all schools. And now, therefore, I, Christopher Fagan, on behalf of the Farmington Board of Education and the Farmington community, hereby commend Board of Education member Michelle Hamilton for her committed and compassionate work on behalf of our community, and I hereby thank her for her selfless dedication and commitment to quality education for the children of Farmington. Dated this 9th day of December, 2019 at Farmington, Connecticut, Christopher Fagan, Board of Education Chair.
Thank you so much.
Mark, you're up.
You say that all over again? No drink while you do it.
Okay. Okay, now for Mark. Whereas Farmington Board of Education mission is to enable all students to achieve academic and personal excellence, exhibit persistent effort, and live as resourceful, inquiring, and contributing global citizens. And whereas students in the Farmington Public Schools effectively learn important academic content, demonstrate skills and achievement at high levels, and develop their individual talents and interests in an atmosphere that promotes cooperation, respect, and lifelong learning. And whereas Mark Bloor has served with complete dedication as a member of the Farmington Board of Education for 6 years, from January 2014 until January 2020, and has shown a tireless commitment to high-quality education in the public schools by his dedication to the Board of Education. And whereas Mark Bloor has served on several committees during his time as a board member, Mark served as both a member of the Negotiations Committee and as chair of the committee for a total of 6 years of service on this committee. In addition, he served on the Policy Committee and was the board's liaison to Farmington Focus and Farmington High School's School to Career Committee. And whereas Mark Bloor supported security grants for over $550,000 to support facility security projects for all schools, and whereas Mark Bloor supported social and emotional programming, additional personnel to support students' well-being, and specialized programming to meet the needs of students across all grade levels. And whereas Mark Bloor worked collaboratively with all constituents to successfully pass budgets through a referendum process across several years to support all elements of innovative improvement in Farmington. And whereas Mark Bloor supported a K-8 facility review resulting in facility improvements across all K-8 schools, which has and will continue to result in improved security measures across the district and infrastructure improvements across all K-8 facilities in partnership with the town council and school administration. And now, therefore, I, Christopher Fagan, on behalf of the Farmington Board of Education and the Farmington community, hereby commend Board of Education member Mark Bloor for his committed and compassionate work on behalf of our community, and I hereby thank him for his selfless dedication and commitment to quality education for the children of Farmington. Dated this 9th day of December, 2019 in Farmington, Connecticut, Christopher Fagan, Farmington Board of Education Chair.
And because we don't make you read your own proclamations, I'm up next, yes. So, whereas Farmington Board of Education's mission is to enable all students to achieve academic and personal excellence, exhibit persistent effort, and live as resourceful and inquiring and contributing global citizens. And whereas students in the Farmington Public Schools effectively learn important academic content, demonstrate skills and achieve at high levels, and develop their individual talents and interests in an atmosphere that promotes cooperation, respect, and lifelong learning. And whereas Christopher Fagan has served with complete dedication as a member of the Farmington Board of Education for 6 years, from January 2014 until December 2019, and has shown a tireless commitment to high-quality education in the public schools by his dedication to the Board of Education. And whereas Christopher Fagan served as chair of the Board of Education for 4 years and worked with the board to support Farmington's vision of the graduate. He led efforts to initiate new and innovative programming across schools through a student-centered learning approach.
And whereas Christopher Fagan was a member of the FHS Building Committee, which is charged to address the needs of the high school facility with a comprehensive solution. In addition, he was a member of the Policy Committee and Negotiations Committee, successfully completing negotiations with all associations. And whereas Christopher Fagan established a strong partnership with the Town Council to engage in collaborative school and town facility projects, including lighting project that resulted in energy efficiencies. In addition, he enhanced the partnership between the Board of Education and town to successfully pass budgets, gaining the support of the Farmington community in providing the resources necessary to achieve the mission and goals of the Farmington Public Schools. And whereas Christopher Fagan steadfastly and with great compassion supported the Farmington Public Schools administration, teachers, students, and community. And whereas Christopher Fagan's valuable contributions drove Farmington's nationally recognized school district in improving academic outcomes for all students over several years. And now, therefore, I, Christine Arnold, on behalf of the Farmington Board of Education and the Farmington community, hereby commend Board of Education member Christopher Fagan for his commitment and compassionate work on behalf of our community. And I hereby thank him for his selfless dedication and commitment to quality education for the children of Farmington, dated this 9th day of December, 2019 at Farmington, Connecticut. Christine Arnold, Vice Chair, Board of Ed.
Well, thank you, Christine. Again, Mark, Michelle, thank you for your service, your commitment, your dedication. We can't do this without all of us giving up a lot of our time and energy to this, and we all have a passion for what we're doing here. And I think it's exhibited by Kathy's leadership, and we're doing great things here in town. And it's a collaborative venture between the board and the administration, and I think we're very fortunate to have a board and administration that get along and work well together, and that's a testament to everybody's efforts here, and I think we should be very grateful in that regard that we do get along so well. So again, thank you for everything. I'll still be around. Come see me at the town council.
And I'll just say a few words, but
You're holding up the cake
I
now,
know, I'm holding up the cake, and I'll be brief.
Okay.
But I'll start with Michelle. From my perspective and the perspective of all of the administrators, you have been an outstanding board member, supportive, hardworking, making an even better connection with our business community. And whether it's projects that end up being supported by community partners, you have been a part of that. And so I thank you, and I know you have so many exciting things in your life going on, and it takes so many hours. It's a lot of dedication, and you definitely deserve to have some fun and enjoy time away from the board. But just know that your contributions will be long-lasting and continue throughout many, many years to come. So thank you, and Mark. Another very hardworking board member. The work you've done on negotiations and being a partner with our teachers and our staff members, administrators, that's a very important part of what the board does, and it really does have an impact in our district. So I really thank you for the many, many hours and the late nights that you spent doing that work. You have always, even when it hasn't been a total agreement on something, you've always been so respectful, and you've always put the best interest of our students first. So I thank you for that, and I've really enjoyed, working with both of you over the years. And then to my friend over here, to my right, Chris has been a wonderful partner to me as superintendent 24/7, because that's the nature of public schools, is that things can happen at all hours, and Chris is just a phone call or text message away. Someone who also puts students at the center of all decision making, and has led this board with integrity and compassion over the time that you've served. I've just had also a lot of fun having Chris as the board chair, because even in the most difficult situations, we found time to have laughs and try to find the bright spot in times that are challenging. I do think that the town council is very, very fortunate to be gaining you, even though I'm a little jealous and angry that you're leaving us and moving on to the town council. I know that you'll continue to put our students, our faculty, staff, and administration at the forefront of your decisions as you move on. And, you know, I do feel, you know, a little tiny bit better because I'll get to still work with
Yeah.
you on the town council. So just thank all three of you for just being outstanding board members and a pleasure to work with. We're just so fortunate in Farmington to have the Board of Education that we have, all of you working together on behalf of our students. And soon you'll see another presentation of students, and those are the moments I know as a board and administration that we just feel so proud, because really that is the impact that you make at this table. It goes right to our students and their accomplishments and achievements. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Just one quick thing.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, a couple quick things, but one, it's been a real pleasure to work with you, Kathy. I think it's just been wonderful. Like you said, all our late nights working together and coming up with solutions, and with my fellow Board of Ed members here. It's you know, it's been 6 years of working together, and I've respected you all throughout the process. I think you know, knowing how hard everyone here has worked, you know, you can't help but pity the people that want to do this role. But it's a lot of work.
Where's Pat?
But seriously,
Welcome to the table.
you know, it's been a great pleasure to work with everybody. I'm looking forward to the next chapter here. I think my greatest pleasure has been serving the public. I think that in doing this role, a lot of times you try to be on the same page as the board, and a lot of times you have to stand by your own decisions. And I think over the last 6 years, we've had our chance to do both. And I appreciate knowing that there's 9 people here, but there's a lot of different voices in the community. We all represent many different voices, but we all represent every voice. So it's been a pleasure to serve them as well. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, now it's,
All right.
we're going to take a short recess at this point and have some cake, so everybody's invited. Okay, we'll return to session. Next item on the agenda, item 4, approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the November 18, 2019 regular Board of Education meeting?
Motion.
Okay, any amendments, changes, revisions? Okay, there being none. Okay, next item on the agenda, 6B, review of Farmington Public Schools Enrollment Project Report, prepared by Peter Prada.
So it seems like every few years we've been doing this enrollment report, partly because at one point we were very interested in a 10-year enrollment because of some overcrowding in East Farm several years ago. And then when we started the FHS project, it is a requirement that you have a 10-year enrollment projection. Now that we're starting, we have started a second go-around with the FHS building, it is required that we have an updated 10-year enrollment report because they use it to determine square footage. So they take the highest projected enrollment at FHS, and that's how they determine the square footage of the high school project. So that's one reason why we did this. And the other reason, if you remember in our enrollment projection report this year, we said we're seeing a much higher enrollment in East Farms than we predicted. And that is shown in this report. So on the cover page, we felt like giving you kind of an overview of things would be helpful. So overall, we're going to go from 4,033 students. That's what our October 1 enrollment was this year. And then in 2029, because this is a 10-year enrollment report, we'll go up to 4,257 students, K-12. So this doesn't include preschool. It doesn't include our 18 to 21-year-old program. But this is our K-12 enrollment report. It does give you some preschool numbers within the report separated out. K-4 enrollment will move upward from 1,467 in 2019 to 1,503 in 2029. And you can see how this plays out in each of our schools. I'll highlight that NOAA is going to see a decrease in enrollment. You can see that it will go from 357 to 303 over the next 10 years. So we're going to see, a 50-plus student decrease in enrollment. In West District, there'll be a slight increase. Union, very slight increase over the 10 years. So real stable enrollment at West District and Union, but NOAA's going to be going down, and then you see East Farms at 467 this year will go up to 510 in 2029. And that's we don't have the capacity to have that many students in that school. So it's overcrowded now, and it will continue to be overcrowded in the next 10 years. So this was a very helpful report for us, because if you remember, if you were on the board early, probably 8 years ago, we had seen a similar spike at East Farms. But then when we did the enrollment projection, it showed that it was going to go down, so we didn't really have to take any action on it. But this is a different trend that we're seeing. Westwood's about 40, students increase over the 10 years. You can see that IAR goes slightly down from 683 to 677. That's not at all that much of a difference. At the high school, we're going to go from this year an enrollment of 1,250 students to 1,404 students in the 10-year projection. So what are our next steps given this issue that we see at East Farms? And we had said at the October meeting, when we looked at the enrollment projections and we saw that we had so many more students than projected, Alicia and I went back with Dawn and we looked at neighborhood lines. There's actually a few neighborhood lines where you get a choice to go to NOAA or East Farms. So we thought, if in the short term, is that a strategy to expand in the short term, potentially giving it that school, East Farms, a little relief, knowing that we have capacity at NOAA to give East Farms relief. I think we long-term need to, in the next few months, present to you some long-term options. But we want to be, careful about saying, here are some long-term options that we can utilize. We want to do some internal work before we present that to you, but I think it's fair to give the board some options when it comes to long-term solutions to the East Farms enrollment issue. The other next step is that the building committee, now that you've reviewed it, I then send it to the building committee, and they'll be looking at the same report. And based on this report, the internal square footage for options 2 and 3. So we know that we have 3 conceptual options that each architect will provide. One is a maintain option, and that's basically the footprint we have. Then a renovate is new with potential additions, and the last one is a new building. For option 2 and 3, renovate is new with possible additions, and the new building, they will use this enrollment projection to determine square footage. And when we went last week to the state, given the 1,404 high that we're going to experience in enrollment, it would be 238,000 square feet that we would see for the high school, given that enrollment. Because of that, we will be adding some classrooms because we will need additional classrooms with that projection. And because of that, we're also able to achieve some of the programmatic items that we achieved in the last go-around, which I think one of them, and again, this is very preliminary, potentially would be culinary, because that was one thing that was cut in the last project. And I'm trying to think of, I think it was the amphitheater in the media center. We have an amphitheater right now, and we were not going to have one in the last project, so this would, we would be able to achieve that, and then potentially some music drama space as well. But it will create additional classrooms, which I think is a need that we have even now. So the project was going to have additional classrooms, maybe 4. We're going to try to achieve 8 additional classrooms in the project, given this enrollment. So those are our next steps. Does anyone have any questions about the report or about our next steps?
So you talked about the long and the short term, just for clarification, for the East Farms. So are you trying to do something for like next year, just because there are already like 6 kindergartens?
Yeah, so right away, we've met, and to do short term, we thought, since we've already have a few streets that are very close to NOAA, where parents get to choose East Farms and NOAA, we thought of expanding some of those because we have buses that go right by. I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal. And then if you're closer to NOAA, you might want to choose NOAA because it is right down the street. You know, the lines are very interesting. I don't know how long ago it was when we did redistrict, well before the time that I started here, but you'd be surprised at how close the line for East Farms gets to Noah Wallace. So there's an opportunity there to do just some volunteer, I'll choose Noah. So if we're going to do that, we want to do that quickly because we have Good Start coming up, and we want to be able to communicate that to those individuals who are on particular streets. So that would be like a short-term volunteer, like you volunteer to do that. It's a choice. That might not get us very far, but that is one short-term solution.
Which is, I'm sorry, just so you wouldn't give them the option? You
We
just
would
kinda
give the
say, You have
option.
to,
No, we would still remain, we're not changing anything because any big change is a process that we would go through. When you're giving a choice, it's a choice. We'll pick your child up and bring your child to NOAA. We'll pick your child up and bring your child to East Farms. Buses are in that area anyway, and there are some streets that are very close to NOAA, and it just makes sense to say to those families, you can choose to go to East Farms. East Farms is experiencing some over-enrollment, or you can go to NOAA.
okay.
And that school is not experiencing any overcrowding. So that's one short-term solution. I will say that East Farms will probably have to experience some specials on a cart next year. We've done this in the past at East Farms. We have had a similar enrollment number, and we've had to do music on a cart. So the music teacher travels around the school. That if we see what we're projecting next year, we would have to do that. Remember, East Farms has a building project, which is going to make this a little more complicated because we can move the office in the front of the building pretty quickly, and that would be done over the summer. But we're also meeting, if you remember, we're taking the media center and moving it across a hallway. That won't be ready when school starts. It probably won't be finished until November of 2020. So not only are we experiencing overcrowding, we have a project that will not allow students to go to the media center, which is, it's good for our students to be able to travel and go to specials and things like that, and it's going to be a wonderful learning space for our students. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge next year, but I think we can't do anything major for next year because we don't have the time. Those are things you have to announce to families. If we were to make any big changes, you have to give families a lot of, time to react to, be part of a process. So I think it's not different from what we dealt with. I think it was 8 years ago or so. I can't remember the exact year, but I think we went up to maybe 480, something like that. And you remember, we were experiencing a similar trend, and then the enrollment as projected just dropped, and we were fine. This is not showing that same pattern. So we want to do short-term and then long-term.
I think that experience also highlights the value of estimating and the projections are accurate.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they are making this projection, it's something we have to be mindful of.
Yes.
So what happens if families don't choose to go to Noah Wallace and they all want to go to East Farm?
We're still prepared for that. It would mean what I was saying. It would mean that.
That's voluntarily.
Yeah. And it would mean that we would probably have to do specials on a cart. I mean, we obviously have the gymnasium.
Yeah.
But art and music potentially, because we might need those spaces for classrooms or intervention space.
Okay, so you would use those
Yes.
spaces for classrooms. Okay.
Yes.
We'll have to add staffing to support
you'll see that in the budget.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Would the long term be that we wouldn't give them the option? and be
Chris
like,
will
you
see
know,
it,
Chris will see it too, but he won't see it till
It
March.
seems like that would,
Yes.
you
Got your
know,
covered list.
but you want to do that through a process.
Right.
And a thoughtful process.
yeah.
Because typically, if you're talking about that, you want to bring people in who have expertise in that area, so. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, that will be 6C, strategic planning accountability for continuous improvement.
So this is our strategic improvement plan for this year, and our teachers, administrators have been working on this over the last few weeks or during the summer and over the beginning of the school year. And you had a little preview of IARs, yes, during the presentation. So Kim will provide an overview.
Okay, so the first thing I'm passing around is a highlights summary similar to what I presented at our last meeting relative to the results and outcomes report. There's nothing really surprising this year, nothing you wouldn't expect to see in all of our program and school development plans, just picking up on the themes of work that we've been doing over the last few years and deepening that work and extending that work. And so again, our program improvement plans are structured around 3 main areas: culture and climate, academic achievement, teaching and learning. You know, it all starts in our schools with positive school climate and culture. And the social and emotional learning work that schools are doing might look a little different, building to building. However, it all is related to developing that strong sense of belonging and having students feel like they can express themselves in school and feel comfortable being themselves in schools. And teachers are working very hard on that on a daily basis, as you've seen in a couple of our presentations this year. The next most important thing that we do, I think, is set high expectations for all students, coupled with strong ways of supporting them in whatever challenges they're taking on. So schools K-8 are continuing their work with whatever they might be calling it, fly time, power half hour, flex time, but those times in the day when students are really self-directed in going to the kind of challenge or support they are ready to take on during that time period. And we have more and more, I think, our specialists on our mental health support staff coming to the students so that they stay within the team or within the pod or within the classroom, and it just feels more natural and organic for, you know, different groups of students to be doing different things. It's less so, you know, you need to leave the classroom now to go somewhere, more the adults coming to the students and the support coming to the students. So that's work that's continuing. I put the vision of the graduate work there because we're sort of in a dual mode of continuing to embed, and you see the evidence of student achievement around our vision of the graduate transferable skills everywhere, truly embedded in all of our work. And at the same time, we're beginning to say, where do we go next? And as you heard from Nilda and Sue, we've engaged teachers in that process. Parents will be engaged in that process in the next few weeks. Then we have a plan to come together again with faculty to kind of digest all that we've heard from them as a whole, from students and from parents, to begin to draft what we will bring to you as you know, our next vision of where we think our students, the student outcomes that are important for the next 10 years. And then under teaching and learning, of course, we're continuing to work on all parts of our district theory of action. I think last year you probably heard a lot about mastery-based learning. Not to say that we're not still working on that. But I would say that for the most part, most of our schools are focused this year on socially constructed learning, because that really pairs nicely with all of their efforts around social emotional learning. So although every school, again, may have a different primary focus, you do see a very coherent approach to all of our goals and outcomes collectively, which serves us well. I think vertically, children and young adults begin to hear that same language over and over again. And as a leadership team, it's really helpful to us that we're all sort of rowing in the same direction. The next level of our work, I'm going to speak about early childhood first. We do have a study committee thinking a lot about what our students' experiences are like pre-K through grades 2 or 3, building toward that very strong commitment to full literacy by 3rd grade. We just know at this point that with a strong foundation of literacy, children will do better in their later years, and that even though it's a small percentage of our students who are not meeting standard by 3rd grade, one student is too many students, and so we're taking a closer look at those early childhood years in terms of Tier 1 instruction in the classroom, but also intervention, and what other supports and partnerships we can capitalize on between home and school to make those years the best they can be, so that every child is prepared to move on successfully in their later grades. And then equity, I've given you what is still in very draft form, some of the work that we're doing as an administrative team to think about really what does it mean to be doing equity work. And if I said the word equity and asked each of you to say what comes to mind, you might all say something different, and you'd all be right, because equity is a lens through which we really think about all the work that we're doing. So we try to make these kind of complex and big ideas manageable for our faculty. So this is something we're beginning to think about, how to talk about our equity work. Equity means we're closing achievement gaps so that all students learn at high levels. Equity means every child comes to school feeling like they belong there and are they're welcome and they're thought of highly and respected. It's recruiting and hiring a diverse faculty so that children see themselves in their role models and their teachers. It's looking at our curriculum more closely and the books students are reading and the perspectives they're taking through their history classes and their learning about the world. So it is a framework and it's an equity lens through which we're thinking about all of this work. So I just thought I'd share this with you, because as you look through the school and program development plans, you'll see threads of equity work throughout. And so it might be something that you say, well, I'm not really sure what that means, but this will help to frame the beginnings of how we're going to talk about it and think about it. We also want to be able to communicate with our families, some of whom have concerns about, equitable opportunities in Farmington, and we want to be able to respond to those concerns and help them, partner with us and see places where they might contribute to our good thinking about curriculum or celebrations or, the ways in which we honor and celebrate student achievement. So we're open to all of that work and really digging into it this year. It's sort of in our next level of work bucket because it's not fully formed yet, but it gives you a sense of where we're headed.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Any questions for Kim? Well, thank you, Kim. That's always
You're welcome.
very in-depth and awesome work. So thank you very much. Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda, 6D, Engaged Learning Update.
Many accomplished accomplishments in this Engaged Learning Update.
As always.
As always, including several veteran celebrations from several of our schools. So you can look through, but impressive accomplishments throughout.
Thank you. Next item, be 6E, professional appointments, retirements, and resignations. We have one.
Yep.
One. Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda, item 7, unfinished business, 7A, budget impact, budget update. Alicia?
So Alicia isn't here tonight, but we're seeing, the same trends as we have seen. I think there was one area where things were really better, and that was electricity. I think it was some better trending there. So I think that would be one area that she says that is
You gotta
looking
take the
better.
good. You gotta
We reduced to
hoping
teaching by
like
candlelight now, is that what you're
you
doing?
know,
We got to the point where
grant
teaching by
funding.
candlelight?
That
Solar
was,
panels
but
out there.
that was the only bright spot. No pun intended. No pun intended.
Another problem coming up Wednesday.
I know.
It's going to be at a really bad time.
For,
It's Wednesday morning. Weather,
oh, yeah.
not good.
Yeah, I was up this morning at 4:30. I
Were you
got a
really?
call. Yeah, because we had black
Ice.
ice.
Oh,
Nice
yeah,
day, yeah.
that's true. Yeah. I know there were some delays around the state.
Yeah,
I know Wednesday isn't looking good.
no, it's not looking so good right now. Let's all hope.
This storm. It's not.
Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah.
would think the building,
Yeah.
we had said,
Yeah.
if it's not
If
bad.
it clears up.
I guess you could do like an 8-hour delay so you can have the schools open for later that night.
It's an early
Oh, you do?
Oh, it is.
My kids call them unicorn days.
They are.
When you open late, but you get to leave early at the same time.
That is funny. I'm gonna have to remember that. That's funny.
It's gonna be on the phone call.
Today's a unicorn
Out a
day.
picture of the unicorn.
That's the days that come around. for the
That's great.
Any additional questions for Catherine? Okay. Next item, 7B, approval of the 2021 Board of Ed meeting schedule. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
I'll just point out that we
No,
did
thank you.
change
We did.
Appreciate that.
from the first day.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All of us
Good change.
parents appreciate that very much.
Okay, any questions? Comments on the schedule? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's approved. Next item, 7C, approval of the 2020-21 school calendar year. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, next item, 7D. Can I have a motion to approve the 2019 policy updates as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Any additional questions on the policy updates, comments? Okay, the motion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? They are approved. Next item, 8, approval of the revised 2019-2020 Board of Education meeting schedule. Can I have a motion?
This is this year. This is this year.
1920.
We're cleaning up our meetings.
Yeah, we're cleaning it up. Yeah. Can I
Motion.
have a motion?
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you know that the change also has to do with, we've changed our budget, the schedule of our budget because we were scheduled to have the primary election and the referendum in the same week. So,
Right.
once we saw that, the changes were made. And so that just changes our schedule when those changes are made, so that's
Is that
why.
new schedule posted online, or is it? Oh, it's right here. Okay.
Yep.
Any additional comments or questions for Kathy?
No.
Okay, the motion to approve the revised 2019-2020 Board of Education meeting schedule, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? It's approved. Next item, 9, consideration of the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations report. Don't have one? No report. Okay, next item, item 10, report of the board chair. I guess, my last one, right? So,
Let's see what you
Final.
Well, I just have some things, and we have the Student Parent Leadership Forum that is on the 6th coming up, right? That's coming up, and then we had the. I was unable to attend the building committee meeting last week. I was out of state. However, I would just encourage everybody to go on the website and get the latest updates. But there's going to be some very important meetings coming up with the presentation of the options on January 8th, 15th, 22nd, and then the 4th. Everything will be presented at Town Council. So if everybody can attend those meetings, it would be very helpful. So just a lot of information out there on the website, but I don't know if there's anything else at that meeting that I missed that you want to add.
No, we did approve a cost criteria matrix. That was the last part of the criteria matrix. I think that those dates are going to be critical because that's when the two architects will be presenting each of the options. And so January is a very busy month.
Yeah.
You say it one more time.
For everybody.
Building committee, and then in February for the
Town Council, yes.
Yes.
So,
Sorry, you run those very quick.
okay, yeah,
I just
sure.
want to make sure I have
Sure,
them.
January 8th,
15th.
15th, 22nd, and then February 4th, they'll be presented to the Town Council. So they'll kind of go, Chrissy, they'll go in stages. I mean, each one, be the maintain option, the renovation, and then the new options. They'll be all separate, so. Okay. Item 11, consideration committee reports. Mark, personnel negotiations.
As my final report, there is none.
All right,
But I
that's
was
a
hoping-
good report.
I was hoping for some poetry or something at the end of your, your board of, your board chair or
Poetry?
something.
From
to that
Chris?
effect. I don't know, he's a litigator, right? Don't we-
Maybe a song?
It's not like he's going anywhere.
I don't know,
Policy, Christine.
No update.
Okay. Curriculum, Michelle.
I believe there's a January meeting. I don't know if you have a solid date.
We have a meeting, but we're not sure whether we'll follow through. We need to know who will attend the meeting.
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Communications, Ellen.
Do we have any update on the newsletter?
Just that we're working on it right now.
Okay.
Yeah. In progress.
Okay. Next item 12, report of community liaisons, 12A, correct, no report. Focus, Bill?
No report. In fact, Kathy, I have not heard from Nancy or Ed at all this
Oh,
year.
okay. I'll
No, I've
follow
got
up
no
with
emails from them at all.
Okay. I will
I
definitely.
checked today, actually.
Okay.
Public School Foundation, Christine.
No update there either.
Interscholastic Athletics, Christy.
I haven't received any emails yet. I'm assuming that the fall sports just ended, so it should be coming, but I haven't heard anything yet.
Right. Usually in January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Chamber of Commerce, Michelle.
We're just looking forward to an introduction to the new, we used to work with Christy. Did Christy retire last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think we've had an introduction to her replacement.
Oh, Christie's replacement.
Steve Nutko.
Yeah, okay, so I'll follow up.
So we can connect. We need to connect.
Yeah, I'll follow up.
Yeah.
I know he has been working with Rose, and because of the Perkins grant, there now is going to be an advisory
Right.
group of, from the business sector. So we definitely we'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. Green Efforts, Andrea.
So our last meeting was November 13th, and Jose from Chartwells came. And he came to talk about what's being done in the schools with waste reduction and what other ideas he had.
Sorry, thank you.
Bless you. And so he talked about, he's actually been quite busy in the schools, and how Noah Wallace is foam-free. And his goal, which the Green Efforts Committee supports, is that all the schools are foam-free by the end of the school year. I think East Farms is next. So all the schools have reusable 6-compartment lunch trays. He said that at East Farms and at the high school, the cafeteria workers have a 5-gallon bucket that they're using for composting, and each school has their own little team. And they've been taking the scraps out and composting in, I think in the the garden at East Farms, and then at the high school, it's in the at the greenhouse in that area. And then on his own in October, the high school went straw-free. I don't know if anybody knew that, but they're straw-free now. And his goal is he'd like to see increase, and so would we, increase recycling efforts here at IAR and the high school, since those are the two schools that have vending machines and where you see kids with, like Snapple or Gatorade bottles. And really the only recycling bin that's around, I think, is in the cafeteria, but it's not really, there's not other bins throughout the school. And then I think the only other thing was that he's looking at ways to improve or like limiting the request for knives for the extra plastic utensils to like an ask only. So only using what you need and not necessarily giving out, the spoon, the fork, the knife. So. Oh, and then also the other big thing is Simple Recycling has started in Farmington this week, and it's textile recycling. So everybody should have received their pink bag and a notice in the mail. So it's supposed to be clothes, shoes, accessories that you wouldn't normally necessarily donate to Goodwill or another charitable organization, but something like, your old towels or your ripped shirts or stained things, and it follows your recycling schedule. So you put your pink bag out next to your recycling bin.
Wow.
So it was a busy meeting.
But that stuff, when it came, that stuff's not going to Goodwill, right? That's, no.
They
it's
will
just
separate it, and if it is
usable.
they will get it to the
Okay.
right place. So you can put your stuff
Okay.
that is reusable in the
Oh, I
pink
like that
bag.
when it came, the pink bag came. I was like,
Yeah.
good, yeah.
So,
Cathartic closet cleaning process going on now.
yeah.
And they'll give us more pink bags.
Yes,
Yeah.
every time
Yeah.
you put a pink bag out, you get a new pink
Yeah,
bag.
that's nice.
Yeah.
What if you didn't
I
get
need a lot of
I didn't
bags.
get one.
Yeah, I didn't get one either.
Oh, you did?
It
came in the mail.
Came in
It came in
the
the
mail,
mail.
like
In the
with this,
Oh, okay.
and then it was packed.
If you go on their website, you can hit a button and you can request bags. They'll send them to you.
Yeah.
Is it folded up nicely? Because then I would not have seen it.
Well, I knew to expect it, but they're these bright pink bags.
Grace is using it for something.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, you all set? Thank you very much. Cafeteria Advisory Committee, Liz.
So I had a lot to.
I know, I still.
I assumed she was stealing your
Stole my
thunder.
whole report.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the same things we talked about at Cafeteria with the recycling and the, I think the straws are, I think they're ask only. I don't know if he got rid of all the straws. I thought it was ask only
I
because.
think you can ask
You
for
can
one,
ask
but I
for
think
one.
he's hidden them. He's very,
Yeah. He
very
doesn't want people
green
using them.
friendly.
Yeah, but you have to provide them in case
Yeah.
people have.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but our student member wanted the knives to go the same way as the straws because she was very adamant that people don't use the knives and that people maybe take them and there's nothing really that you use them for. So she requested that we do the same thing with the knives, that maybe you just, and so Jose suggested that we do it on an ask-only basis, so we're going to start doing that. So, and she's going to get a lot of the students together to do a lot more recycling and deal with food waste so that there's less food waste in the cafeteria at the high school. So it's really a good initiative, and it's good to get the students involved. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out, but there's a lot of interest in it, and it's good that the students want to do it.
Great. Thank you, Liz. Health and Wellness, Ellen.
Yeah, it's interesting because there is overlap on these committees because Jose comes to health and wellness and Nancy's been.
Yeah.
So I won't report out on what he said, same report. And Nancy Parent was there
Oh.
and talking about focus, which I think they could be revamping. Their meetings have not been well attended.
I don't think they've had one.
Yeah, well, I mean, last year. So
Last year they did not have, I went to about 4, but they only had 4.
yeah, so I think she's trying to figure that out. But no,
Kim discussed the SEL report with everyone. This is actually our first meeting. It's a really great committee. We have physicians. We have a couple of physicians, Matt Ross's wife, some great parents, leaders at the high school. It's really a wonderful committee. So we actually might also bring back to this committee the recommendations of the SEL
Yeah.
report and go over those. And Ed Manfredi just went over the curriculum at all of the schools as far as SEL. And he's, we're very fortunate because, it's not Jim anymore. He's so focused and committed to the social and emotional well-being of kids, what issues are facing them and how to approach it. And he's really so passionate. We're very fortunate to have Ed as a for a department leader.
Excellent peer leader program up at the high
He
school,
talks
too.
about that constantly. He's very proud of that, and it's working.
It's working.
It really is working. And so he just continues to focus on seeing how each of the schools is formatting their health and wellness program. So
What is January, Ellen? I forgot. It's like move more January, move dot more dot January or so. I remember January was TV turnoff month like decades ago, but now it's move more January.
I can't
Work off that Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
I'm still working on Thanksgiving. Okay. All set, Ellen?
Yes.
Okay, building committee, gave you the update. I don't know, Ellen, if you want to add anything to what
No,
was
I think
previously
you did a
discussed?
great
Okay.
job.
Okay, and no executive session. And Mark, in my last act of board chair, I'm going to tarnish my one legacy of the quick meeting, so now you get the poetry. I will not be accepting a motion to adjourn at this point in time. I do want to, I brought a little something for people. So everybody's going to get one. Here's yours. Yeah, when we pass Kim, there's yours. Liz? Bill?
We guess what it is.
Don't shake it, it's really fragile. Andrea's?
Kathy broke hers.
Thank you.
Mark?
Dropped a bunch of things.
All right, Michelle?
We have to wait till Christmas?
And Christy. Yep. Okay, that should be it for now. And I guess I will, as one of my last acts, exercise a little more power than I'm probably vested with, which is speaking again on behalf of the Farmington community to everybody here, and thanking you for your commitment and dedication to the board. You really, we do great things. It's a lot of effort. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I just want to thank you on behalf of the town of Farmington. I want to thank you on behalf of myself for the same reasons, but also for your patience and understanding with me in my chair role. Certain responsibilities come with this position, but my vote didn't mean anything more than anyone else's. I was no more important or smarter than anyone else, and I just appreciate everything you guys have done for me personally. And so I kind of reflected about my tenure on the board, and I was thinking, what have we done over the years that I could comment on? I thought, I reflected back, and I thought the videotaping of our meetings was an important step for us as a board, as a public body doing public business. I thought it was important for us to get these meetings out in the public. There was a lot of debate and discussion about it. I think we came up with the right solution. We had a responsibility and accountability for that. And I think it also was nice for the community members who can't come to meetings various nights to go in front of them. One of the unintended consequences of videotaping our meetings, I'm going to hopefully not get you in trouble for saying this, but we had an audience we probably didn't appreciate at the time, which is Kathy's peers. And the other superintendents are watching these meetings. And Kathy shared with me, over the years on a couple occasions, that her superintendents are watching our meetings, obviously because we're accomplishing great things here. I mean, we are a flagship district in the state of Connecticut, and they're obviously doing that. But one thing they comment, and Kathy has expressed to me, which I took great pride in, the superintendents say that it looks like, at least, despite our differences, we get along and we have fun. And I think that's really, really important here. We have a lot on our plates, personally, professionally, when we come to these meetings every time. And if we can get along and have fun, we can get a lot of great things accomplished. And the only impediment to that is ourselves. And there's no reason we can't do that. So I'll leave you with that. Don't get too far over your skis. Smile, get along and have fun, and just keep the meeting short, right? So,
That was your greatest lesson.
So I would, one admonition with the little gifts you do have, you should open them up before you leave. You don't have to do it right now, but do it before you leave. You'll understand why, because they were wrapped during watching Football USA, and there's a chance you may not have your gift. So, that being said, please do it before you leave tonight. And on that note, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.